What's up, guys? Back to another Konosuba video, and in today's video we are going to talk about who you should pick on your character select multis. No, these are paid multis, so you will have to spend money. The first one has non-limited characters for 500 paid quartz, and the second one has the limited characters minus the collabs, obviously, for 2k. You can do it twice. There is a pack for $7.99 USD and I believe $14.99 USD. You know, I recommend if you want some of these limited characters, it's probably your best chance to get them. Keep in mind though, you do have to spend money. But let's jump into the video. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, helps me out a bunch, and all that, you know, generic YouTuber stuff. Let's get into it. So actually, really quickly, this is for the limited one, by the way, this first one. I'm gonna have a second one. I'm not gonna go into too much details because this video will be like 5 hours long if I tell you everything. So I already have the list made. I'll show it at the end, and I'll give a brief description of why I place people where, you know, so you're not sitting here for like an hour of your time. Anyway, let's jump in. So I'm gonna be clicking on a lot of stuff. Hopefully I don't mess this up. The first off, we have Kazuma. So this is what we have for Kazuma. If you're gonna see not owned a bunch, because this is my alt account, it doesn't have as many characters as the one I use in videos. So Kazuma has no limited characters. Well, he does, the 3 stars, but I'm going to be going over the 4 stars because that's what you guys are summoning for. So there is the OG Kazuma. You know, he's not too crazy. He doesn't, you know, people regard him as the worst one. The other 2 do solid physical damage. Let me go ahead and pop, I believe that one. Yes, sir. So yeah, OG Kazuma, he has like the weird magical physical split. The other Kazumas do pretty much around the same damage multipliers. Well, the hometown hero, which is the play one, does more on a second. He has a self 2 tier agility buff and a tier 2 physical defense debuff. So does the second one. The other one has a physical attack buff. They're both just pretty solid, do damage, you know, give some buffs here and there. So let me click. My gosh, this is going to be a fun time. Okay, so pop that one. Okay, so Kazuma, personally, since there's not limited characters and you probably want to summon from limited characters, I would say he's good to summon on if you have the limited characters. I recommend, of course, going for the limited characters, but this is just gonna like keep in mind that, you know, are they good or not? So, you know, if you are missing, like, let's say Christmas Wiz, I'm obviously gonna say, yeah, you should probably go for Christmas Wiz, even if you have a less chance of getting her over, let's say, like, you know, Kazuma, or people in best, because obviously they're limited. But I still think Kazuma is good enough to being good. Next up, we have Aqua. So let me pull that up. Boom. Oh, hang on. There's like a million things I have to click. All right, so Aqua. Unfortunately for Aqua, her first 2 aren't too great. The swimsuit one, I know these by heart basically, has a small heal and gauge charge, so does the other one. They're both pretty solid. They have all the same rates, so you kind of have a 50-50. You either pull the 2 that are bad or the 2 that are good. Unfortunately for Aqua, that kind of is a yikes. I would say it's still good to pick Aqua, especially because those 2 are limited. The swimsuit ones, I have a feeling they're gonna come back just because it's like around summertime. But you know, just in case they don't, and this is your chance to get them, Aqua isn't good. Just hope you win the 50-50. That's a lot of these that you have to get lucky and get like the 1 out of 3 or the 50-50. Next up is Megumin. So let me pull her banner up. All right, so she's an interesting one. So pretty much the gist of the Megumins are, you know, throw out your bottles, do your damage, explosion, right? The darkness one, if I crawl correctly, let me pull her up, is the one that is not as good as the rest. Yeah, so she doesn't do anything. She lowers their defense debuffs, but everyone else has like a magic buff. You know, the cloud one obviously isn't in here. Yeah, they have magic buffs. They either do more damage or they give other buffs. The water one gives an agility debuff. So unfortunately, the darkness one isn't as good. It's still a Megumin who can still use explosion, so it's not like the worst thing on the planet, but it is going to hurt her a little bit. I still think it's good unless you have most of the Megumins, of course, but if you don't have any of them, you know, still pretty good to pick up a Megumin this way. As long as you want the dark one, you can't really go wrong with it. So exactly that, but in good. So next up we have Darkness. So I'm going to show you Darkness's thing. The Christmas one is good. The rest of them I would not recommend. Darkness is weird because like she's gonna be useful for the dungeon, but the Darkness cards don't really do too much. The first one, physical damage, you know, okay, the damage isn't gonna matter because you're not gonna want to use for Veneer's Mask. She has a tier 2 physical defense debuff, a party tier 2 physical defense buff, and then a small self heal and self tier 2 taunt. The other one, the swimsuit one, does a single ally tier 3 physical attack buff and a single ally tier 3 physical defense buff. So it's just like a bunch of buffs, which, you know, the reason the Damachi Darkness is so good because she can do damage while tanking. The Santa one buffs attack and magic attack and has a single ally tier 3 agility buff. So she's a little bit more helpful, and she gives a magic defense buff to the party. There's a lot of you know, buffing allies in the Santa one, but other than that, it's not too crazy. Oh my god, trying to click all these buttons to open up the right one. All right, this one, boom. So for Darkness, I would say she's pretty bad because looking back at the banner, there's a 1 in 4 chance that you get Darkness, and she's not too crazy, so I would not recommend picking because, oh, I'd feel so bad if you got the OG Darkness. That would not be the greatest. So next up we have Chris. So Chris is gonna look a little something like this. So OG Chris is good. I wouldn't say any of the other Chris's are terrible. They're not like the greatest. Some of them are a little wonky. Let me grab them. So Chris. OG Chris has the low chance to bind, which is not the greatest, but she has a tier 2 physical defense debuff, and her ult, which is the wind, I believe the tier 3, you know, makes him super slow. The lightning one has a self tier 2 agility buff and then does more damage, so it's more damage based. The fire one gives herself a physical attack and the enemy a defense debuff tier 2. And then the new one, which is the, well, I guess say new, but it's the most recent, the treasure one gives a chance to haze and a tier 1 agility buff to the party. So it's like, it's a little weird. Not the greatest buffs, but Chris has a really good ult, and, you know, a good unique weapon. So I don't want to fault her too much. She also doesn't have limited characters, which doesn't, like, I wouldn't say hurts her, because obviously you don't want to summon for a limited character who's garbage, unless you really want to collect, and, you know, ignore this and just collect her the hell you want. But it is a little unfortunate. Yeah, nothing too crazy for Chris. So I'm gonna put Chris in unfortunately bad, just because, you know, none of her characters are too crazy. There's no limited ones, so there's not really an incentive to pick her. Next up we have Wiz. So this one is going to pain me. I'm actually gonna put her in bad before I even show you what is on the banner. So actually, what am I saying? Why did I put her in bad? Ignore that. I'm spaced out. I'm thinking of the other one. So, click on that one. There we go. Okay, so Wiz is actually the best. Sorry, I'm thinking ahead of the other tier list when I looked at it. So, boom, click that, click this. So the reason I put her in bad is because the other two Wiz, you have to, if you lose the 50-50 here, it's going to be very unfortunate. Unfortunately, as if you watched my video last night, I pulled 2 of the OG Wiz. Now I didn't have her, so it wasn't a big L, and I like Wiz anyway. But your options are OG Wiz, Pajama Wiz, and then the 2 really, really good Wizzes. So, I mean, I would recommend this. Hope you get Santa or Swimsuit. If you're like me and are missing only one of them, it's going to be a little scary because you have to, you know, get the 1 out of the 4. But I still think that the Wizzes are good enough. If you don't know what Wiz does, she literally just does damage. Unique item. That's the gist of it. I believe the swimsuit one has, what was it? Yeah, tier 2 magic defense debuff as well, which is cool. You know, they're Wiz. At this point, you know what Christmas Wiz does. You know, she's insanely good. If you don't have her, this whole tier list is null and void. Go for Christmas Wiz kind of thing. That's how good she is. So I am confident putting her where she is. Next up, we have Yunyun. So Yunyun's banner, let me grab her, is going to be very hard for me to rank. I'm going to be honest with you. So come on, buttons. All right. So she has OG Yunyun, the Bath Yunyun, the Water Yunyun, and the Fire Yunyun. So the Fire one is the limited one. Boop, click that. So Yunyun, OG one of the really good characters for the OGs. Does a bunch of light damage, gives her a tier 1 magic attack buff, and just does damage. The Fire one is Christmas with his best friend, so obviously you would have both of them together. She has like the poison one and then the agility buff, which is going to help Wiz dish out, you know, more attacks, heal more. The wind one does just damage basically, as long as you're at below or above certain HP thresholds. And the water one gives a defense debuff for magic to the enemy and just does water damage. So pretty much just your generic damage mage. Not that I have an issue with that, so we are going to put her in good. You know, I wouldn't say best because it's not like she's Christmas Wiz level, but they're all overall pretty good. So if you manage to just get OG or whatever, it's not a huge loss. Next up, we have Iris. So Iris. Hers is interesting. I don't really know how I feel about it because I wouldn't say there's bad, like a bad Iris. This is what it looks like. We have OG, Casino, Ballroom, Halloween, Valentine's. So as I pull up the characters real quick, so we have Iris, OG, you know, pretty much the party 2 one attack buff. The Halloween one has a small party heal. So does the Casino one. Most of them just do damage and nothing else. The Ballroom run gives herself a agility buff. The funny Valentine, I don't know why I couldn't remember which all it was, gives the enemy a physical defense down, and then if they're debuffed does more damage. So she just does damage overall. Not anything too crazy, so I'll probably just put her in the same tier as Yunyun. Boom. Overall, you're not really taking an L if you pull any of them because they're all pretty much the same. Of course, there is some better than others, but this isn't about, you know, one being good. It's about the whole banner, which is why certain characters are going to be ranked really low. Wiz gets lucky because it's, you know, 2 of the really good characters paired with 2 of the bad characters, so I'd still be confident with putting her in best. I'm debating putting her in good. I feel like there's only 1 or 2 characters who actually deserve to be in best, and we'll get there later. But since Wiz is so like dominant, she gets lucky. Next up is Cecily. So Cecily's banner is gonna look kind of similar to Iris's, because, well, not, I wouldn't say similar. I'm thinking of the next character, or not the next character, a couple characters down. This one, okay, so she has 1 limited character. I really thought the cafe was limited. I don't know why I thought it was like another Valentine's unit for some reason. But we have Casino, OG, Cafe, and the Valentine's one. So the Valentine's, Alright, actually let's start with the OG one. OG, heal, medium chance to bind. Dogs are going crazy. Hang on. Alright, sorry about that. Had to deal with that. It's been a couple minutes. So anyway, Cecily, right? So Cecily, she does a medium party heal, medium chance of bind on her OG card. The Continental Cleric, which is the Casino one, has a tier 1 physical defense buff and a high chance to bind. The Valentine's one, which is the limited one, has a minor heal, and then she has a tier 2 agility debuff and does more damage, more HP. And then the Win one has the tier 1 agility buff and a minor heal. So not anything too crazy. She does have 1 limited unit, which I guess in a sense kind of boosts her up, but I still think it's bad to some fur, unfortunately. Sorry, all you Cecily fans, all three of you out there. Next up, we have Arue. So Arue is going to be looking a little nicer, not gonna lie. So Arue. Boom. All right, so Arue has no limited characters. I would say all of these are rather good. Let me do the old pull up what they do button. So the OG Arue is pretty much your standard mage. Magic tier 2 defense debuff and enemy damage. Second one has another tier 2 magic defense buff and does light damage. They're both really good. The fire one has a haze chance to haze, and the ninja one has a magic buff and just does earth damage. So I wouldn't say any of these are terrible. Obviously the light and dark one are way better, so you have another 50-50, but the other two aren't bad and aren't like super unusable, so that really buffs up Arue's chances. I would say she isn't good if you want to pick her. She doesn't have any limited characters though, keep that in mind. Next up is everyone's favorite Axis lover, actually not Axis lover, I say Aqua lover, Mitsurugi. So good old Mitsurugi has no limited characters. We have OG Casino Snow Mitsurugi, I guess, and Ninja Mitsurugi. Let me pull up what he does real quick. All right, so we have small party hero, AoE, and a party tier 1 defense buff for the OG. The second one has a chance to bind, pretty much useless. He just does earth damage for the Casino one. The fire one, minor boost to agility, does more damage when above HP. Nothing much else. And the ninja one has a small self heal and a tier 2 physical attack buff. Mostly Mitsurugi is used for tanking and his ult. I would say that the OG and the all damage earth one are probably the best. Not to say the other ones are particularly bad. You know, I just fires, you know, got a lot of magical there. And the ninja water one, he doesn't really give himself, he has self tier 2 physical attack buff, so he's not really helping the team. The small heal is nice, so you know, it has niche uses if you don't use darkness for a dungeon. So I'm a little conflicted on this one, in all honesty. I think the best place to put him would probably be bad. I'm gonna put him in bad just for the fact that he doesn't have limited characters and it's not anything too crazy. Actually, no, I'll put him in good. Obviously don't go for him if you have multiple Mitsurugis. It's just, you know, he has his uses here and there. I've used Mitsurugi in places that I don't normally would use him just because he just works out. Next up is Dust. Hang on. We'll put it back. I don't like Dust personally. If you watch my videos, I'm not a huge Dust fanatic. Dust is another character where he doesn't have limited characters. We have OG, Snow, Bath, and Treasure Hunter, Arabian Nights. I don't really remember what the term was for that one, but for what they do, Dust does tier 1 agility debuff, tier 2 defense debuff on his OG. He does tier 2 agility debuff and damage. Then he has low chance of poison on the battle one, and then if it has sads affect more damage. And then the Treasure Hunter does a tier 2 agility debuff and a tier 2 party physical attack buff. I mean, one of them is good. On all honesty, Dust really got shafted by his weapon, and his ults aren't to anything crazy. So for Dust to actually win a spot at like you wanting to summon for him, he has to have a really good card, and he really just doesn't. The Arabian Nights / Treasure Hunter, whatever you want to call him, is not bad, but with everything else on this list, just I wouldn't go for Dust. I just wouldn't, unless you love Dust and you have none of him. But that's still like, there's limited characters on this banner. Why would you ever not go for them or someone who's good? Next up is Rin. No surprise, I'm just gonna put her in there before I even show what the banner is. The banner for Rin is rather stacked. So we have OG Rin, who is still crazy. I know Eyes came out, but still I use her on my win teams most of the time just because of how good she is. We have the Water Rin, who isn't as good, and the Fire Rin, who is a limited character. That already helps Rin's cases here. So OG Rin, if you don't know what she does, she has a tier 1 physical attack debuff and a tier 2 magic defense debuff, and then she has her crazy high damage ult, as we all know and love. We have on the Fire one a tier 2 magic defense debuff and a self tier 2 magic attack buff, and the Water one does a tier 1 magic attack debuff, and this was water damage. Just, you know, more variety with your Rins. I really like the Fire one personally. I think she's just as good. It's just, you know, she has a wind ult, unfortunately, so it's not like she can match her fire attacks with her fire ult. But I don't think that hurts her at all. I still think Rin deserves to be in best tier because all 3 units, I guess the water one is the worst one, but it's not the biggest like L if you pull it, because you just have another water mage to use. OG Rin is really good if you don't have her, and then the limited one. So it's just 3 characters, can't really go wrong. Like someone like, let's say Mitsurugi, where there's like more variety spread out, or Iris where it's spread out, or another good one like Aqua where it's like bad good. It's just, you know, 2 really good units, 2 like 1 all right unit. But anyway, next up is Leah. So Leah's banner is going to look something like this. OG, Axel Hearts, and Kenpo. So, pulling up Leah. OG Leah does Haze Clear and a self tier 1 taunt. If you get her, I'm so sorry for you. I would give you a hug because that is some sad stuff. The Axel Hearts one does a party tier 2 physical attack buff and just does dark damage. The Lightning one, which is the best one, has a physical AoE damage that also gives you a tier 2 physical attack buff and more damage the more HP you have. Leah's ult, the damage cut one is bugged, but Leah has an incredibly good ult, so whenever that is fixed, the Kenpo one's probably going to shoot up and be extremely good. And Lightning is a physical attacking element, so it helps her even more. So if you pull Kenpo Leah, insanely good. The Dark one isn't terrible, but has its issues, and the OG one is just so bad. So I would say it's good because actually no, I'm gonna put it in bad just because the Dark one isn't anything too crazy, and the OG one is just really bad. So you have 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 chances of getting the good one, so that's gonna kind of hurt you. If you want to risk it, go ahead, but I'm gonna put her in bad just because that none of them are limited as well, so it's not like, you know, you have OG Wiz, the other Wiz, and then like Christmas Wiz, and it's like, oh, it's only like 1 out of 3 have a chance. Like, it's not limited, you can get it later. Anyway, next up is Cielo. Instantly, before I say anything, put her in best. So if you want to know what what the banner looks like, before I tell you what she does, it's actually only 2 characters, OG and Axel Hearts. So this one isn't limited, but if you don't have limited characters, or like you have all of them or you don't care, right? This is probably the best one. I'm not gonna lie. So really quickly, let me pull her up. So OG Cielo does medium party heal, and here Haze Clear doesn't matter. Then a party tier 2 physical defense buff. Then her ult, you know, she got the status cleanse, the cleanse that boosts your attack and magic attack. And then she has the Wind Raspy is bug, but has the damage cut, so already really good. The Lightning Cielo, which is regarded as the best character to reroll for, has a party tier 1 agility buff, already really strong, and a small party heal on her other one. And then her ult heals, so she's giving you agility, healing you. Her ult heals, like she just keeps you alive. Very, very good. I think, even though they're not limited, that she still deserves the best here. I was contemplating going for her, but I kind of wanted to risk my shot at getting this one. So Aqua, or not Aqua, Wiz, because I really like Wiz. So that's pretty much why I did what I did. But definitely a unit deserving of that spot. Next up is Erica. So Erica's banner gonna be a little it's another get lucky banner, if I'm being honest. Let me click on computer. Oh, there we go. So it's OG Erica, Axel Hearts Erica, and Kenpo Erica. So Kenpo Erica is the best one. She has a self tier 2 agility buff and more damage, more HP. OG one just does fire stuff, nothing too crazy. And then the Axel Hearts one has a chance to bind and a physical attack debuff. The OG and the lightning aren't too crazy. The fire one gets a benefit of having the 35% ult, charge ult, which is fire base. The Kenpo one has that ult as well. Obviously, it's not going to get a huge bonus because you're using wind attacks and it's not going to be effective. But using that with eyes to get her ult quickly is very, very strong. When I'm going for a more damage route, I use them together with Cielo to keep both of them healthy because they both want to be at high HPs. So very good unit with eyes. Obviously, if you don't have eyes, the value of this is going to go down quite a bit, unfortunately. But other than that, I think Erica is in the good tier just because you have a 1 out of 3 chance. And unlike Leah, who has 2 truly trash cards, Erica, at least she's doing damage. I wouldn't say, actually, I'm going to put her in bad. Just because I know Leah also has 1 out of 3 chance of getting the good one. Erica has the same. Erica, I think, does more damage and does more useful stuff, but I actually don't think that is good enough to put her in good, and she's not limited. I'm kind of blinded because I really like Erica. Reserve my judgment. She's in bad. But I would say I wouldn't be opposed to putting her in good, but that's just my bias talking. Anyway, next up is Melissa. Nope, that's the wrong one, but she's still going in now. So, Melissa's banner is going to look like this. Almost done the video, by the way. We have these 3. One of them is limited. That's not going to help her whatsoever. So Melissa OG does the chance to haze and a self tier 2 agility buff. There's characters who give their whole team agility buffs at this point. Her weapon is also crap and her ults aren't anything too crazy, so it's not like that even saves her. The swimsuit one is a self tier 2 physical attack buff and a tier 2 physical attack debuff on the enemy, and just fire damage. The Kenpo one has a chance to bind, and then if they have a stats element, does more damage. Nothing crazy at all. One of them is limited, I guess, for collection issue if you really like Melissa, but there's no reason to summon for her at all, so I do not recommend doing it whatsoever. Next up is Amy. Why am I blanking so hard? Mia, that's not her name. Sorry, Mia. That's why I was blanking so hard. So Mia is an interesting case. Can my computer just decide to work properly, please? All right, sick. Boom. So Mia has no limited units. She has OG, the maid, and the ninja one. Pulling up what they do now. Party tier 2 magic defense buff, self tier 2 physical attack buff on the maid one, party tier 1 physical defense buff for the maid. The ninja one has a chance to bind and a chance to haze. Similar to Melissa, Melissa at least has a limited character to, like, you know, I guess boost her odds, even though she's bad. I don't think you should summon, especially since there's limited characters and a million different chances, especially when Cielo has a good character or an extremely good character. It's a 50-50. Why would you ever pick any other characters who are just all of them are not it, you know? Next up is Amy, though. Trying to wrap up the video because it's rather long. I'm trying to record this in the morning, so there's like a million things happening right now. This is Amy's banner. So I really wanted that Amy. The what was it? Arabian Nights one, I guess you'd call it. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. But OG Amy, heals cleanse, party heal, party tier 2 magic defense buff, party tier 2 magic attack buff for the maid one, and a small party heal. And the darkness one has boost your gauge by 10%, I believe, and a minor heal. I like that one a lot because, you know, it helps my Arue have a healer, all that good stuff. But she doesn't have a limited character, and the other two aren't anything too crazy. So unless you really want her, I would probably recommend staying away. I'm gonna put it in bad. Now, I have to be fair to Erica and Leah, who I put in there for the same reason. that's pretty much it. These are my opinions. If you have like any other things or you disagree, let me know in the comments below, of course. This is the limited one, by the way. Wiz, Rin, and Cielo are your best ones. Of course, if you are a collectionist, I always recommend, or just like in general, want limited characters, I would recommend summoning on Wiz, Aqua, all that. There's this. Yeah, I think it's what Wiz, Rin, Aqua, Megumin, Darkness, Cecily, Iris, Yunyun, and Melissa are the ones with limited characters on it. So, you know, if you really don't care, or you have most of the characters, whatever you want, like a limited one, like I did, summon on what you want to summon on. But this is overall how useful the characters are, or like how likely you are to actually pull them, like, compared to the risk. This one, so you'll see roughly the same. This is your non-limited character, so as you can see, there's some differences. This goes up a bit to being bad, just because overall when there's just regular characters, he goes up a bit more. Every other character not having, you know, limited characters, Ren and Cielo obviously stay up. Kazuma stays where he's at. It's mostly just the same. Aqua drops down because all the limited characters are the good ones. But other than that, this is for the 500 one. This one right here is for the 2000 one. Other than that, I'm gonna end the video before it gets too much longer. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and all that. Let me know what you think down below and who you picked, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.